First of all, I don't think there's any single path. There are multiple paths. If you join Standard Chartered Bank, you can join in different areas of the business. You can join in either the business side, we have consumer banking, we have wholesale banking, or you can join in what we call the support functions. We've got technology and operations, we've got finance, we've got legal and compliance, and so on. People have come to the top from different routes. Some have become CEOs with a business background, some have become CEOs with a support function background. In my case, I happen to have a bit of all of them. I was a business head, I was a head of consumer banking. I was in a support role, I was a head of finance, all right? So it shows that you can actually have a combination as well. But what I think is important is that once you join the bank, go back to all those three things that I've mentioned at the beginning. You've got to have a drive, ambition. You want to succeed. You want to get to the top. Two, you've got to have hard work and discipline. You can't be an 8 to 5. You've got to put in the hours. You've got to have the discipline. And third, that integrity, that those values that will make people believe in you and trust you. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you sit at the top. You've got an entire franchise that is entrusted to you. So people have to have the confidence that you are able to meet their expectations.
There's a model I always use for professionals. It is a pyramid. So you've got to use your imagination, a pyramid. And at the base of that pyramid is the foundation. The foundation for anybody's career is education, right? A first degree, a diploma, whatever it is, all right? So that's the base. Now, within the sections of the pyramid are 4 particular sections. The first section is a clerk, right? And I use that deliberately. The second section is called a supervisor. The third section is called a manager. The last section is called an executive. Now, as you go up that career path, because you already have the foundation of your first degree, that should just enable you to do what is required of a clerk. But when you start your clerkship, there is one important thing that you must do, is to get a professional qualification. An accountancy qualification, a marketing qualification, a lawyer qualification, or whatever it is that you want to do, and that you do during your clerkship. That then prepares you for your next level, which is your supervisor. Now, when you get to the level of supervisor, you have been acquiring the hard skills, what I call the hard skills. But when you become a supervisor, what you then begin acquiring is your soft skills. How do you handle people? Because now you're beginning to look after people. How are people delivering? Are they being given tasks? Are they being managed? Are you supervising those tasks? Are you allocating them properly? So that is not a hard skill, because you already are aware of what the hard skills are. So at that stage, you should then consider starting on a postgraduate qualification, and that would be a master's. And what the master's does, it prepares you to become the next step, which is the manager. So once you've done your postgraduate qualification and you are now ready to become a manager, you need to now start on doing the strategic skills, because those strategic skills are the ones that will propel you into the executive role. So to summarize, get your basic education as the base of the triangle, get your hard skills as a clerk, get your supervisory and your soft skills as a supervisor, begin working on your strategic skills and getting your master's qualification that will then enable you to get to the level that I am talking about.
All right. Pay is always an interesting issue. But I think my answer to that is always put in a little bit more than what is expected of you. Then you are in a much stronger position to argue for a pay raise. In other words, if you make yourself almost indispensable in an organization, sooner or later your boss realizes that to keep you, he has to really make you happy. And therefore, he's going to make sure that, he gives you the incentives that you need to be able to stay. A technique that some people use is to test their market value by actually applying for a job outside. I don't really recommend that, but some do it. You apply for a job outside, obviously you get an offer. That really shows your market value because this employer is willing to offer you double, triple, whatever. And then you come back to your boss and say, well, I've got this offer, it's twice what I'm getting now, so what can you do for me? It doesn't work in all cases, by the way. In some organizations, they will say, we don't succumb to blackmail. If you've got that offer, well and good. It's tough, but we have to live with that. But we don't succumb to blackmail. Otherwise, some will say, well, I can't afford to lose you, and therefore I'm willing to pay what you're asking for. But of course, that becomes a bit of a vicious cycle because everyone will do it. So I think with salary, I would say always make sure that you contribute a little bit more than what is expected of you, and therefore you become more valuable to the organization. And also, do not get stuck in the past. All right, organizations are looking for the future. Do you have the right skills? Do you have the right set of aptitude, whatever that is necessary to succeed for the future? So you might have been excellent in the past based on the skills, based on the requirements of the past. But how about the future? So you've got to upgrade your skills, you've got to improve, always get into self-improvement programs, read more about your profession, find out what are the latest thinking and techniques that are in your profession, so that you are always ahead, as opposed to just relying on the past.
That's a very difficult thing to do, especially when you're starting employment. I have always told employees that if you are to be able to get a good salary, you need to work for a company that compensates for performance. A lot of people tend to go into a role and find that there is no performance pay, and they end up being really frustrated. So if you are in a performance pay job, it means that if you work harder, you get paid for it. Now, the trick is for people to look at a total compensation package. A lot of employers have a trick where they tell employees that I'll give you a basic salary and I'll pay you allowances. Now, to me, that is a wrong strategy, both from the employer point of view and from the employee point of view. Because if you look at it, you are compensating this guy, say, 1 million shillings in his basic salary, and then you're giving him allowances of 500,000. So his take-home pay is 1.5 million shillings. But guess what? If he were to move from your employment and go to another company, he will be able to only confirm that his salary is 1 million shillings, right? Not 1.5 million shillings. So you can imagine you are being disadvantaged. So I prefer that you negotiate as an employee for a consolidated pay, which means that all allowances and everything should be put into your basic salary, and that is what you carry around. Because when you're looking for your next employment, you are negotiating from the basis that my basic salary is this, and therefore this is what I want, because you are getting this value from me. So it is a trick that many employees do not actually allude to, because the employers use it as a ploy, because if I give you an allowance, I might remove that allowance in 2 years' time. For example, if it's a telephone, I'll say, all right, now you don't need to use the telephone because I've given you I don't know, a closed user group mobile phone, which charges us nothing. So why should I give you a telephone allowance, right? But if you had built that into your basic, then he can't remove it from you. So that's what I would like to do. But it must all be based on performance. So which then means that you build a margin for your skills, and then you also build in a margin within your salary of your performance.
I shared it with my wife, showed it to my wife that this is my new salary, which obviously meant a little bit more than what I was earning before. But I think on a more serious note, I think it's important to have financial planning at the back of your mind. You see, your needs or your desires always increase to match whatever level of income you have. So if you are earning 2 million, your needs, your whatever, come to a 2 million level. The moment you earn 10 million, one would imagine that all your cares are over. Unfortunately, if you're not too careful, it becomes now a 10 million needs that you have to meet. So I think it's important to have financial planning. Make sure that you prioritize your income in terms of consumption, in terms of investment. Otherwise, however much you earn, you can always find yourself perpetually in financial difficulties.
I can't remember, but but one of the things I always do is I save money. It's a habit I have been fortunate enough to build. I tend to save, and because you save, then you can do other things in the future. You can go on holiday. Um, you can you can buy a dream gadget. You can buy. You can build a dream house. You can do all sorts of things. I've been lucky in that instance that I've been able to do quite a lot of things that a lot of people would like to do at my age.